Hey y'all, what's happening? Chinese here. I watched and Just Like That, season 2, episode 6. It was called Bomb Cyclone, something like that. Sorry. But it was so funny. Again, bringing back the original humor from Sex and the City, the series, and the movies. And I enjoyed myself. Like, commentary. Spoiler alert, spoiler alert, spoiler alert. Okay, so it's so funny. The first scene starts out with Carrie preparing herself to do a Zoom interview. And I like how the writers had her setting up, preparing, which is like she stacking like computers in an Amazon box to place her laptop on instead of her having like using her iPhone with an actual tripod stand. Like Carrie's not about that life. So that was funny to see what that type of setup preparation requires if you don't have an iPod, right? And so Carrie has written a book, Love and Lost, because she lost her husband big due to a heart attack. And so the young woman is, she's very vivacious. And Carrie's excited, and and Carrie's. What was funny about that scene is like the lady's supposed to be interviewing her about her most recent book, Love, her memoir, Love and Lost. And the interviewer is like, I'm assuming she's like Gen Y, Gen Z, millennial maybe, and she's like, Carrie, so what is your book about? And Carrie's gonna like, Mira, you didn't read the book? She's like, well, my schedule is so busy. And it was like, Mira, if you interview someone and they're an author or they've authored a book, you should read the book or read most of the book. She didn't do any of that. So Carrie was definitely taken aback, was not feeling it. And so because Carrie challenged her, like, you didn't read my book? She's like, well, I'm so busy. Then she's like, well, Carrie, what's the most recent lipstick or shade that you like to wear? Excuse me, I have a cold. And then Carrie looks dumbfounded, and her computer happens to topple over because she has it stacked with boxes and on top of boxes of magazine. So she's like, she's glad that her computer fell over because that interview was kaput, done, finito. So the next scene is like Miranda and Che. I will say Che is so unlikable. And you don't have to be liked by everybody, but there's very few qualities about her that are unlikable. One moment, because this anyway, okay, I keep going. So Miranda, Che is still depressed about the fact that her pilot did not get favorable response from her character that she has created, a fictional character of her life. So she's still depressed about it, and she's kind of in bed most of the day and smoking pot. People still say pot; it doesn't matter. And Miranda's trying to cheer her up and like tell her to get out and get out the house and get some fresh air, walk around. And Che is just not hearing that. So anyway, Miranda's like, let me get a kiss or a hug, and Che's like, we didn't come here. She's like, I just came, and she's like, Miranda wants to hug on her, and she's like, oh, I'm not a teddy bear, like I'm not, and it's like Che is so mean, y'all. Che does not. She doesn't respect Miranda to me. She doesn't like Miranda. She is sexually attracted to Miranda. And to me, that's as far as it goes. There's no respect to me. Every time I interact with, there's an interaction between Che and Miranda. She seemed bothered that Miranda wants to hug her and cheer her on. She's always so perturbed by Miranda's presence. So I'm like, Miranda, you can't see this, Mira? You can't see this. This lady is not feeling you outside of sensuality. She's not feeling you. She doesn't respect your essence. Fine. So Miranda's like, okay, cool, cool, cool. And then there's a scene where uh, uh, so then Carrie runs into or is talking to Seema, played by Sarita Chowdhury. And can I tell you, Sarita is killing the role of Seema. She is smashing it. She is so good. I mean, she eat up the dialogue like it's nothing. She just killing it, killing it, killing it, killing it. She's one of my favorite characters in this new reboot of Sex and the City. I love what she's doing. Funny, her style is on point. A good shot. Again, shout out to the costume designers and the stylists for this series. Shout out to y'all. However, I will say, why is Carrie, Sarah Jessica's character, why are y'all putting her in so many voluminous clothes? Why are they so bulky, like big coats and big dresses and layers? It's like this woman, Sarah Jessica Parker, still has a nice figure. She has a lovely figure. And I know she's supposed to be in her mid-50s in the series, but damn, women in their 50s, like her figure is still nice. It's toned, she's curvaceous, but she's like, and Sarah Jessica Parker is one of the EPs, so clearly that's the direction she wants to take. Maybe it's because maybe because she's still partly mourning and she's really not trying to wear anything that is form-fitting because she doesn't want that kind of attention right now. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's it. Anyhow, so Carrie goes to buy a new laptop with Sarita, with Seema. And Seema is like, I usually go to the Hamptons, upstate New York, I believe it's upstate New York, for the summer and with my friends, with their son. But she's like, I don't want to go with them. I don't want to go there by myself. So do you want to like rent out a summer house in Hamptons? Excuse me. Carrie's like, yeah, of course, cool, cool, cool. So Sigma's trying to find the right place that's suitable for her lifestyle. So she's a really fun character. And then there's a scene with sweet Charlotte. Charlotte has become, I've always liked Charlotte because she's so idealistic and she's a romantic and she's just very sweet. And she's always trying to improve and be understanding. So I really like that about her character. And she's mad patient. So in the opening of Charlotte's scene, like her daughter Rock modeled for Ralph Lauren, I believe. Yeah, I believe Polo in the park. And so it went well. So she's in New York Times as a model, and her daughter's like, Anthony's like, oh, you're a rock star. Look how beautiful you look. And her daughter's like, Mom, like this. So she's like, it's gender neutral. Saying someone is beautiful is gender neutral. Like, relax yourself, honey. She's like, if this is all the attention I'm going to get from being a model, then and if this is what it takes, if this is what it means to be one of finally the good daughter, I don't want it. Let me tell y'all something. Charlotte's teen daughters are so effing annoying. They really are. They're like entitled. They're bratty little bees. I can't stand them. I can't stand them. They're like ungrateful. They're mean to Charlotte. They talk to her almost any kind of way. I'm like, that is definitely not a Black American cultural thing. Like talking to your parents, we know there are exceptions, folks. We know there are exceptions. We know we're not a monolith. But by and large, you're not talking to your mother, your Black mother like that. You're just not doing that. Anyway, Charlotte is like, okay, fine, fine, fine. So her other daughter tells her her adopted daughter, Lily, is 17 and tell her like, I want to go to a restaurant, a nice restaurant, and then she's like, Mom, did you make the reservation? So I was like, I'm sorry, I forgot because I was helping toting Rose around with the modeling. She's like, oh my God, I can't believe it. Like, how am I going to go to some regular restaurant before having my first sexual encounter? Anthony's like, anyway, first of all, you're 17 years old. You can go to Shake Shack, and what are you talking about? So they're all shocked that she announces that she's going to have intercourse for the first time with her boyfriend of many years. And Charlotte can't believe her ears, neither can the husband or Anthony. And I'm gonna say this, Anthony is one of my favorite characters. He is so funny, and he says what Charlotte won't say. Like he'll check both of the teenager girls, put them in their place and like, relax yourself. Who are you talking to? So I do appreciate Anthony, and he's so funny. Anthony Marantino. So anyway, Charlotte comes into her room, is like, so you ready? You're ready for this step? You're moving, ready to move forward and be sexual with your boyfriend? She's like, yeah, we've been knowing each other for forever. And like, she's like, and you're gonna wear a condom? She's like, yes, mom. I've been hearing about condoms since I was 10 years old. We're good on the condom situation. So she's like, well, make sure that your needs are met too. She's like, mom, I don't want to hear that. You're annoying me. You're grossing me out. She's like, okay, Charlotte is so accommodating to her daughters who talk to her like they're her peers, whatever. So and then we get over to Lisa Todd Wexley, aka Nicole Ari Park, and her husband. And her husband has like, I think a dinner or a meet and greet for being a comptroller. And Nicole Ari Parker is being celebrated. Her documentary has been celebrated at MoMA Museum, and it's there's a heavy snowfall, and he's like, so maybe you can come to my event first, and then go to yours. She's like, no, why don't you come to mine first and then go back to yours? He's like, okay, got it. And he's like, it's snowing so hard, you want me to we could just get in the same truck and nice warm seats? She's like, no. He's like, well, then why don't I call you? Because she had a car coming, but they canceled because of the heavy snowfall. He's like, well, then why don't I just call you a car? He's like, no, I can handle it myself. I'll get there by highway. I'm going to get there. I'm going to make it work. Nicole Ari, Nicole Ari Parker's character, Lisa Todd Wexley, LTD, she is annoying in that regard. It's like, Mira, your husband wants to offer to get you a ride to the MoMA event to celebrate your documentary. Why the F won't you let him do it? Like, stop being so independent. It's almost like I'm just too independent. Like, I don't need your help. Mira, you all are partners. Let the man get your car. No, no, I'm gonna make it work. So she's like walking through this heavy snowfall to get to her event. And I like that she was like, I'm getting to the event. They're celebrating my artistry. I'm gonna make it work. But it's like, that's fun, that's beautiful. But it's like, if the dude is offering to give you a ride, why would you reject him? Ain't nobody trying to walk in the snow in New York or Chicago, anywhere. Like, that was, to me, is like, you're going too far to prove how independent you are. Like, we got it. You're independent, you're self-reliant. Got it. Received. But don't be ridiculous with it. Anyway, what she was wearing was so gorgeous. And I feel like Nicole Ari Parker's character, Lisa Todd Wexley, she has a very fire, beautiful, funky style that Carrie Bradshaw had in the original series. It's like her style game, the costumers, her style game is incredible. Love it, love it, love it. Seema style game, Sarita Chowdhury style game is crazy. Like, those two characters, style game is crazy. And I will say, Sarah Jessica Parker hair is looking so beautiful. It's wavy and full and long. Her hair looks so beautiful. Miranda's short haircut looks beautiful. Charlotte's hair looks beautiful. And Nicole Ari Parker, when she gets to the museum, uh, she goes into the ladies' room and she removes like her garb, her outerwear, and she has this fire cap on, and her style is incredible. And she removes a wig, and there's an elderly lady, black stylish lady, washing her hair. And she's looking at Nicole while she puts on a wig, right? And Nicole looks at her and said, "We're not gonna let the snow stop us." And the lady says, "Absolutely." So that was such a really nice, sweet scene. Uh, and it's kind of like natural. Some Black women wear wigs, right? Some white women, women just wear wigs. So that was a really nice scene. I really like that. And then you see Nicole being interviewed by the woman, the facilitator of the event, and she's talking about why the content of her documentary, and then we see her husband coming in and enjoying it and sitting in with the audience, and she's very happy that he came to support her. So that was a really nice round off of their scene. But I just need Nicole Ari Parker, the LTD character. Relax your independence, honey. Your self-reliance. We get it. Like, Like she's getting annoying now, proving like she's independent. Okay. Uh, and Naya, she right now, she's just going through a phase where she and her husband are clearly getting a divorce, but they're trying to have an amicable divorce. And so she says they just kind of keep in touch with each other about sports, which is a nice little touch, just to keep a nice bridge between the two. So that was nice. Excuse me. What else? Oh, Miranda and Steve. So Miranda and Steve. Oh, wait. Sorry. Back to Charlotte and her little bratty uh daughter, adopted daughter, Lily. She when she gets to her boyfriend's house to engage in sexual, sex for the first time, she's like, he doesn't have any condoms. And Charlotte's like, but I thought you said you had the condoms, and she tried to hit about it. She's like, I know, but he forgot them. He assumed I have some. So she's like, Mom, can you go get some condoms for me? And she's like, Girl, let's throw it outside. I know, well, fine. If you don't want to get the condoms, then I just have him pull out. And it's like, and then Charlotte is tracking through the snowfall to find condoms for her 17-year-old daughter. And most of the stores are closed because of the heavy snowfall. She calls Carrie. Carrie's like, Girl, get past it. You'll make it work. And then she finds this guy who has just closed up. And she's like, Please, 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 my daughter needs condoms. So he let her in. And so there's basically just, to me, this episode is showing how women, mothers, wives, just women, period, when we're determined to do something, we make it work, you know. So I appreciate that. But the fact that and then she finally goes to her daughter's boyfriend house and gives her the condoms, and Charlotte's looking like, Can I have a hug? And her daughter's like, she hugs her and then she goes back in. And it's like, I don't know if they're intentionally writing these teenagers to be a-holes, but they are a-holes and they're bratty and entitled and they're like, ew, I can't stand them. And Charlotte, you see the camera kind of looking from on top of Charlotte, and she's looking kind of sad and hopeful at the same time. So bravo to Kristen. She's doing a great job to me with that character. And Miranda goes back to the house and is like, I need to tell Steve, she's kind of creeping around wanting to get an official divorce. And he's like, she's like, You're moving, right? Well, how long is this? You said you would be moving. And he's like, Well, I lied. I'm not moving. I'm staying here. This is my house. She's like, Well, your name is not on the deed. Why isn't his name on the deed? Y'all been married for like 10 years. She's like, This is my house. My name's on the deed. Why isn't this? Y'all are married. Why isn't his name on the deed? He's like, This is my house. That kitchen was a mess. I recreated that whole kitchen. I did lay down the floors. I did a whole lot of things to revamp this home. I added equity to this home. And he's like, I'm not leaving. I'm not effing leaving. You caused this. I'm not leaving. And then he's like, You didn't want me, the marriage. You didn't even want the Brady, our son. And she started crying and she starts to leave. And he's like, No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You just caught me off guard. They hugged and they were laying in bed together. And she's like, Steve, I hate that I hurt you. He's like, I know, right? So they kind of had peace. And then she's like, I just wish, and she sees a condom wrapper on their nightstand. And she's like, What is this? He's like, It's not what you think. She's like, Well, what is it? You look like you've been effing a woman in our bed. He's like, Oh, yeah. And she's like, All this time I'm feeling sorry for you because you're out here moping. And I'm thinking you haven't moved on. He's like, I'm not a victim. She's like, Clearly you're not a victim. You're messing around with someone working at Whole Foods. So he's like, No, I'm not a victim and I've moved on. So Miranda goes back to Che's house. She's like, I can't believe I'm like, Steve is getting on my nerve. Like, we're gonna finally get a divorce because ugh. And Che's like, Well, actually, speaking of that, I actually want to move on. I don't think our relationship's gonna get any better. So I think I want to just kill it. And Miranda is really hurt. She's very hurt. But she's like, I didn't mean to hurt you, but I need to move on. And they lay in bed together and they hug and then next thing you know, that's basically the end of the episode for the most part. Oh, I'm sorry, towards the end, Carrie speaks about, sorry, I'm all over the place, but Carrie is when she's having dinner at Naya's house, because Miranda's staying with Naya temporarily. So Naya invites Charlotte and Carrie over, and they're all talking about their exes. And then Carrie mentions Aiden, who we love. We love Aiden. We love Aiden. So she mentions how, he used to be her ex-fiance and things like that. And she Googled him, basically discovered that he's been divorced for 5 years. He lives in Virginia, and so her curiosity is piqued because he always loved her unconditionally. Well, not unconditionally. He really loved her, even though she broke his heart twice over Big. Um, but she emailed him, excuse me, towards the end of the episode. Because she wrote an email to him, but she never pushed send. But at the end of the episode, she pushed send. So hopefully he'll get the email. We know he's coming back to the series. So there was another part that I wanted to talk about that was funny. Oh, Rachel Dratch. Rachel from SNL, y'all. She made a guest appearance, and I love her. She's such a talented comedic actress. She does the she did the Debbie Downer sketches. Oh, genius. Her interpretation is genius. The writing is just so funny. And when I saw her, I was so happy to see this actress because she's such a good comedic actress. And she was so funny in this episode. She was basically like a former writer with Carrie and was throwing a lot of like daggers at Carrie because Carrie kind of like faked her out as far as a writing project they did in the 90s, and she's still holding on to it. So that was real, but she was pretending like she wasn't pissed, but she kept throwing daggers at Carrie. So it was really funny. I know I'm all over the place, but anyway, ultimately I enjoyed this episode. Season 2 of It Just Like That, episode 6. It's really funny. Brought the Sex and the City original human back. I don't like Charlotte's teen daughters, as I've stressed. But Carrie's cult, but she was headed. So I'm sorry, I forgot this part. Carrie was invited to speak at the widow's event. And she called Che because they wanted her to speak in public, and she's not a public speaker. And she was so uncomfortable. She's like, she called Che because Che's a stand-up comedian, successful. And she was like, can you please go with me to be my support, because you're very good and comfortable in public speaking, whereas I'm not, and I just need your support. And Che's like, girl, it's a heavy snowfall. I ain't doing. And I was on Che's side. Girl, it's a heavy snowfall. You crazy. She's like, please, Che, you're good at this. I just need your support and your encouragement. And Che's like, okay. She did not want to go. She even called Carrie back like, girl, it's coming down crazy. They're probably going to cancel. She's like, no, they don't cancel. She's like, I just need you there. She's like, okay. So she shows up, and the lady in front of Carrie, the lady who speaks in front of Carrie, she's an elderly woman, and she's pretty and stylish, and she's funny. She's referencing her book, but her book has a comical spin on losing someone. Just has, they say humor is a means of healing through grief or pain or any kind of pain. So she used humor to deal with losing her husband, but she also makes fun of men and all that. So it's a nice levity to loss, right? And then so Carrie's feeling intimidated because she's like, I'm not funny like her. I gotta go behind this lady. And then she's like, Che, give me a joke so I can just break the ice. She's like, she's like, please. So Che comes up with a really funny line, and Carrie jacks up the line, and she gets no laughs. So she's like, okay, let me just read my book. And she reads it, and it's received so well from the audience members, which again, make up of women who have lost their spouse. So that's pretty much what it is, but I really enjoyed it. Yeah, it's cool. It's really cool. Yeah. All right. Take care. Peace. Chinese.